Oysters, Sonoran dogs, Rocky Mountains, and roofs that don't work. Roofs, whatever. Critique me later. It's another Moss Spring Training Tour. We're going to stick on the West, and in the West tonight, the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks on a rainy day out here in the Valley of the Darkness. Not a whole lot of great conditions over the last couple of days for spring training, at least in the Cactus League. Me and Vegas Mack holding it down for you. Vegas Mack, what is up, my brother?
I'm looking outside. No rain yet. We're waiting for the snow to come. You guys are supposed to send that storm up this way and supposed to get some snow. I got my boots ready. I want to go. Last day of spring break, I want to go tubing down my driveway. Come on.
I want video of that. Plenty of stuff going on. We appreciate those of you that are here with us. Again, we're going to stick in the NL West. Interesting division this year. A lot of talk obviously started at the top with the Dodgers. I think they just bought something else. Raindrops. They might have actually deferred payments on Raindrops, but they're the benchmark. And these two teams are in two completely different worlds. Let's start with the Colorado Rockies, who in 2023, for the first time in franchise history, they lost 100 games. How'd they follow it up last year? They lost 100 games again. 101 if you want to be technical. Lead us off at the top of the order. First thoughts on the Colorado Rockies, Vegas Mack.
This might be the easiest one, but this is a nightmare on Blake Street.
Pretty straightforward and simple. So here's how you get through it, Rockies fans. You do this. You grab yourself one of these, which there's plenty of in Colorado. You remember that you have a tremendous baseball stadium, one of my absolute favorites. Some of the views you get there, and then you just sit there in your seat and Rocky Mountain cry in Colorado. Listen, it's a baseball team that I really. We did all these. We prepped for all these. We were getting ready to do this, that, and the other thing. And I looked, and I'm going to be honest with you, Vegas Mac. I know we all had fun poking fun of the White Sox last year. This team, to me, at least on paper, I know we don't play the games on paper. I think this is going to be hey, Chicago White Sox, hold my beer. Without a doubt, the worst team in baseball this year. We know the dynamic that they deal with up in the thin air of Colorado. We know that Dick Monfort is a cheap ass and he won't overpay for pitching. He won't spend good money on pitching. That's why no pitcher wants to go there, and you can't really blame him. I mean, this is just an entirely bad situation, especially for a guy in Bud Black who's there still in his 9th year, or he's going into his 9th year there. And there's no way to go anywhere here, from the way their minor leagues are set up to the way they can't get any pitchers. And really, they don't even hit the long ball like the old school Rockies did. I mean, this is just a whole mess of garbage right here.
Yeah, it's kind of like rebuild, lose, repeat, rebuild, lose, repeat kind of a thing. I mean, listen, I mean, you touched on a lot of things right there. So let's start first with the stadium. I mean, because of where they are, there's obviously the way the ball travels. The outfield is really, really big. Pitchers don't want to go there. But let's talk about, you talked about the Colorado Rockies, and this team
Pitchers
has had
go there. Ding.
They have had success.
Mm-hmm.
How did they have success? I mentioned it. Blake Street, the Blake Street Bombers. You had Vinny Castilla and Helton and Walker and Galarraga and Bichette and Ellis Burks. The formula to win in Colorado, I really think, is pretty simple. You get as many bombers as you can, and you bomb away. That's what you have to do. You're never going to get great pitchers to go there. But listen, it doesn't matter. You just got to bludgeon people to death. That's how you need to win. And eventually, if it's one of these things, if you can get enough offense, you'll get a pitcher or two that'll go there. Maybe, I always think of somebody like, I know he just signed with the Athletics baseball franchise, but like a Luis Severino, somebody who needs to make a name for themselves. That's the type of pitcher that you'd have to go after. Somebody that, your numbers aren't going to be good, but the numbers aren't everything. I think Colorado gets a bad rap a lot of times about how bad it is there. Listen, if you're a ground ball pitcher, you can have success there. That's been proven. You just got to get the right kind of people there. But for me, you look at this lineup, and like you said, they don't even have the bombers.
No, they don't. I mean, we'll get to the offensive side of it, and it's. I'm trying not to. This one's really hard for me. Love the city. Love the stadium. Thank God if you live in Denver and you're a fan of the four major sports, that the Avalanche and the Nuggets are as good as they are, because it's going to pull some of the attention away. But we're talking about a team, and part of this is the division, 43, 41, 37 games out over the last three consecutive seasons, 10-29 against Arizona, LA, and San Francisco. They were 8-5 against the Padres last year, but I mean, I feel for a good baseball dude, one of my favorite old school players in Bud Black, that he's just still there and still dealing with this. Like, if you're going to own a baseball team and you don't want to spend the money, sell the damn team. Like, it's misery to put the fans of Colorado through this.
Here's the one thing when I was kind of looking at this. Do you know that the Rockies were 19 games behind the fourth place Giants? Yeah. 19 games. That says a lot. We talked about, we're going to talk about the Nationals. Okay. That is a team that has young star power. You may not know a lot of those guys' names, but they have a lot of star power. Mm-hmm. I will guarantee you, if we went out on the road and said, we're going to take 25 baseball fans, and we go to those 25 baseball fans and say, okay, name for me a player on the Colorado Rockies, they would have a hard time doing it. And that's, again, I know we keep knocking the Rockies down, but listen, Chris Bryant's a name, but he hasn't played in like 3 years. And so it's hard to even think that he's with the Rockies. But this is a team that truly doesn't have a household name, not in the starting lineup, in the rotation, maybe on the roster. I mean, that's a big problem.
Yeah, and again, it just goes back to my point. You've got situations in wherever the hell the A's are playing this year. You've got that moron in John Fisher. You've got the Rays situation right now, and the Rockies situation, and the White Sox situation. Again, and this happens in all sports, but I think in baseball it's even more glaring, because baseball stands alone by itself for quite a bit of the summer. Like, those four franchises that I just mentioned, all four of their owners are terrible. All four of their owners don't give a crap about the product on the field, and it friggin' shows. And we just keep allowing garbage like this to happen. Again, I will bang the drum for the salary cap floor a million times over. I get a lot of crap when I say that from people that are like, well, they don't need a floor, they need a cap. Listen, put a floor in and make some of these teams actually try. That being said, when you look at this from a pitching standpoint, one of the things that the only way you're going to get pitchers, as we mentioned off the top in Colorado, is you have to overpay for them. Or another concept, I mean, hell, just let us run the damn Rockies. We already know more about how to fix the Rockies than they do. You bring guys in, you use the Giants theory, and I'm referencing that because I watched it a couple of years ago as Farhan Zaidi and the rest of Giants ownership and management tried to tank that franchise. You have to find the guys, like, I'll use Kevin Gausman for a perfect example. Giants bring Gausman in, pitches really well, Gausman gets a bag. If you've got to do that for 4 or 5 years and bring these guys in, or the other thing you do is you get guys on the back end of their career that love the game and they still want to pitch for another year or two. There's not a super high expectation for them. There's your other option, but you got to do something here. One thing that will help, German Marquez coming back. You know, he came back from Tommy John, then he fractured his forearm and they just shut him down right away. He's a guy that if, you know, as soon as the Rockies are out of contention, I mean, let's call a spade here, might have some value to somebody else. Ryan Feltner, Kyle Freeland, Senzatella, Bradley Blaylock, easy for you to say, and Austin Garber, who's dealing with some shoulder issues, scratched himself, essentially, depending on which story you read from his last start. So they've got guys that you would expect to be pitching in Colorado. Marquez is the only guy that's got any value. They've got some guys, and I know you're kind of high on one of them. I can see it in your face right there. Like they have guys coming up through the pipeline here, but you know, again, we're talking about pitching in Colorado. It is what it is.
Yeah, I love the fact, you know, we talked about veterans or somebody that needs, you know, to have a good year. You know, here's a concept. You could develop those pitchers from the very beginning. Oh, holy crap, right? Yeah. Isn't that what the minor leagues are for? I mean, that's the thing. Like, go ahead and say, if you're going to be successful in this with this franchise, this is what you need to do. You know, you've got to be able to put the ball on the ground as a pitcher. We don't need fly ball pitchers. We need guys that can catch the ball. That's all there's to it. Chase Dollinger is a young guy could very well make this squad. Bud Black is made that comment. He said that he could definitely make this rotation coming out of spring training. He's had a pretty good spring. I don't think this Rocky staff is bad. You know, again, you have to understand, if you're a pitcher and you're in Colorado, your numbers aren't going to be great. But look at the splits too. I mean, half your games are on the road as well. Don't forget, you're not pitching in Colorado every single game. And so we have to remember that as well, that these guys, you know, half their games are going to be pitching on the road. So there's no excuses why they can't pitch, you know, I don't want to say better, but still acclimate themselves to being on the road. I'm done with the Rockies have been in this league long enough. Nobody's surprised what happens when you play there. You know, going in what's going to happen. I mean, other teams don't have a problem winning there. Other teams don't have a problem pitching there. So they got to figure it out. Yeah.
Arizona Diamondbacks coming up in less than 10 minutes. So hang with us if you're watching. We appreciate you. Feel free to comment. Follow us at Mike Arana Show on all of our social channels, everywhere except for Snapchat. TJ's got to come back. I'm getting tired of saying this for him. Everywhere but Snapchat, because Snapchat sucks and we're 12. So we're not 12. We act 12. We're not 12. That's why we're not on Snapchat. You know, when you take a look at this, and you mentioned Dollinger, he's got to be able to stay healthy. Another guy, young, exciting player that they have, Charlie Condon, same thing with him. He's got to be able to stay healthy. He struggled a little bit. Now he's dealing with a wrist injury. You would assume if Charlie Condon is healthy and once he gets the hang of things at the big league level, he's an attraction in Colorado. I'm still, for the life of me, I and this is no shade on Condon. It's not a Florida, Georgia thing. So don't come at me with that garbage. I still can't believe that Colorado. I mean, I can, because Condon's a good player. He's got the potential to be a great player, and he's a perfect fit for Colorado. Really kind of shocked that Jack Caglione was not a Rocky. I thought he would have been the perfect Rocky. He would have been more of a box office draw, because you could have done a lot with him. It's neither here nor there. I have a question for you. Bud Black, 2,556 wins in his career. Does he get to 2,600 this year? 2,556. Which means he's, by the new math, if I take off my shoes, he's 44 wins away. And some people are laughing, and I'm like, no, I'm dead ass serious. Does Bud Black win 44 games this year?
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, like I said, I don't think their pitching is pretty good. I mean, they have a couple of young guys in Doyle and Tovar that, I mean, are Gold Glove caliber players that are getting better. Chris Bryant's had a good spring. I mean, I think they'll be a little bit better this year. I do. I mean, they're going to be in last place. There's no doubt about that. But I think they'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, and you mentioned Doyle and Tovar. I mean, we're talking about elite level defenders there. A guy I like, I'm kind of curious to see how he translates to Colorado. And speaking of guys that can be exciting players in Colorado, is Thairo Estrada, former Giant that they brought in, and they're really kind of expecting him to kind of be a catalyst in the lineup. And if they get 2022 and 2023 Thairo Estrada, I think that's very exciting for Rockies fans and for the Rockies in general. If they get oft injured and banged up Thairo Estrada, who knows? But the other key with Thairo Estrada is he gives him a chance to help out another prospect that needs a little bit more time in Adel Amador. Geez, easy for you to say. He was their number 5 prospect in 2024. You talked about Chris Bryant, arguably might have one of the worst contracts in baseball history, hasn't lived up to it at all. Michael Toglia last year, better defender than hitter, but again, we got to remember how young he is. Then you've got 4-time Gold Glover Ryan McMahon. Tovar got his first Gold Glove last year. Nolan Jones, a guy who's really honestly having a fantastic spring for them. Sean Bouchard, very, very strong spring for him. So I think offensively they've got some. They really do have some players on the offensive side that are exciting to watch. Drew Romo, their number 11 prospect, he's going to start in Albuquerque, but he's going to be up there pretty soon. So when it comes to an offensive standpoint, Mac, I do think that they have some guys that can put up some runs this year. I think Chris Bryant just being freaking healthy is a key for him. But man, I just, like I said, thank God for the Avalanche and how damn good they are, and the Nuggets and how damn good they are, and a lot of excitement with the Broncos and Bo Nix. The only problem for the Rockies is the month of August before training camp really ramps up for the Broncos. The Rockies are on full display there, and it's just, I don't get it, man. Like, I get it's a business, but I mean, at least make a damn attempt to put a decent team out there. And if you're not going to, sell the friggin' team. So I'm not even going to give you $100 of my money on this. No, absolutely not. Their over-under win total is 58.5. I am not letting you spend $100 doing anything with the Rockies. The only thing I'd let you bet with the Rockies is if they were going to be the worst team in baseball. I don't know if this team's going to win 55 games, man. I really don't.
Well, like I said, I think they'll be a little bit better. I really do. Like I said, their pitching is not totally bad. I think these young guys have got another year. I think they'll be a little bit better, but do I get 200 for the D-backs then?
No, you don't get 200 for the D-backs, but we're going to start talking about the D-backs because I am depressing myself talking about the Rockies. I can only imagine being a Rockies fan. And it is like, I'm so sick and tired of these friggin' owners that, how good is your business if your team sucks? Nobody's showing up to the games. You're not making any money. I mean, what good is your business? Hey, just send that revenue sharing check on over. Hey, Rob Manfred, you're the greatest commissioner of all time. That's literally it. All right, here's my thoughts on the Rockies, my final thoughts. I am going to lose an eye doing this before we're done. All right, that one was better. It went that way. Let's talk about those Arizona Diamondbacks. And in a conceptual model here, and you really got to think about this, last year's Diamondbacks were better than the Diamondbacks that won the National League pennant and went to the World Series. People are going to go, no way in hell. How is that possible? Look at the numbers. But before we do all that, leading off for the Mike Aranda Show and the Arizona Diamondbacks Moss Spring Training Tour, Vegas, Mack.
Red touches yellow, kill a fellow. No bullpen to follow. The D-backs can't win. I'm not good at poetry.
No, you were horrible at poetry. You know what? The only thing that was worse than that poem was the Diamondbacks roof last year, which allegedly is fixed this year. I'll believe it when I see it. But all things considered, really, really, really excited about this Diamondback team. I know Diamondback fans are excited about this team. You got a hell of a lot of reasons to be. When you break down the numbers from last year, the D-backs were actually better statistically last year than they were when they won the National League pennant. So tell me, oh wise one, oh voice of reason, what happened?
I don't know. I do know.
We know.
they had a couple of guys that just didn't get the job done. I mean, Corbin Carroll didn't have a great year. Their bullpen is crap. And with all that being said, their starting pitching didn't perform the way they needed to. And they were one game away from making the playoffs. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff in one game. And not even that. Not even a game. A stupid storm. Really, let's talk about it. A stupid storm basically killed the Diamondback season last year. That's what it was. A stupid storm.
Stop it. Don't do that. Don't add the excuse there. But, storm. The pitching, again, I'm going to keep banging this drum. We've done it the entire spring. Teams that are high quality candidates to legitimately have a 6-man rotation. Here you go. Here's another one. And obviously the biggest move the Diamondbacks make, and I think it shocked a lot of people because last year they bring in Erod and Jordan Montgomery. They deal with the injuries. Montgomery is just absolute ass all year is the only way. And Jordan Montgomery would probably also be the first person to tell you that. He knew. The Diamondbacks knew. They had a conversation about it. Comes back into camp. We'll see what that translates to this year. But then, boom, and I think it was really kind of out of nowhere for a lot of people. Corbin Burnes gets added to the staff, the best pitcher that was out there. So now you're adding Corbin Burnes to the staff where you can go Burnes, Gallen, Kelly, and then however you maneuver the rest of it. I mean, obviously, Erod, Fott, Monty, Ryan Nelson, another guy in the bullpen who's a starter for him if need be. Dre Jameson coming back. I love Dre Jameson. Like Mike's man crush, Dre Jameson. Just need the dude to stay healthy. I mean, electric. Give me your thoughts on this pitching staff for the Diamondbacks, which very well could be the best in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, to think that you already had a number one in Zach Gallen, and then basically you kind of go 1A, 1B. I mean, it's not exactly Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, but it's pretty darn good. It really is. It's pretty darn good. We know what Burnes gives you. He's going to give you the innings. He's been really healthy, knock on wood, throughout his career. So he gives that. And you have to remember that even though Gallen and Kelly have pitched for a couple of years, they're still fairly young guys. You've got a true ace now leading that staff in Corbin Burnes. Like I said, my biggest thing is in the history of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I mean that from year one of the Arizona Diamondbacks to the present, they have not figured out the bullpen. They just, I don't know why they cannot figure out the bullpen. And sometimes it's not even their fault. I think Sewald was a good pickup last year. I liked what he did in Seattle. He just didn't get it done in Arizona. They can't figure out that bullpen. And that's, if I have a concern on this team, that's my number one concern is the bullpen.
Yeah. And, we break down the Diamondbacks and then the claim that a lot of people kind of scratch their head about that they were actually better last year. They scored 44 more runs than anybody in baseball last year. They were 27th in ERA. So a lot of that had to do with the bullpen. I like the setup to their bullpen this year a lot better. You've got Justin Martinez. It looks like he's gonna be given the opportunity to hold down one of the hardest roles in baseball, to be the Arizona Diamondbacks closer. Then they get a full season of AJ Puck, Kevin Ginkel, Ryan Nelson, Dre Jameson coming back. I mean, they've got options. And with the Montgomery, the aforementioned Ryan Nelson, if Brandon Fott struggles a little bit, they've got some movable pieces there that I think they might, every team wants the closer, the setup, the lefty specialist, the long relievers. You want your prototypical A to B traditionalist baseball, boring bullpen. Well, yeah, that's the easy way to do it. What you're seeing now, and we've talked about this a lot in these multifaceted pitching staffs that we're seeing all over the bigs this year, you've got a couple of different guys that can close. And if TJ was here, he'd say, you know what they tell you, Mike, if you have two closers, that means you don't have one. And he's partially not wrong. But I think they want, and they're going to give ample opportunity for Justin Martinez to keep this closer role. Fantastic. You know why? Little bonus for me. I've got him on my fantasy baseball team. Even freaking better. But I like the way it's set up, and I think the full year of AJ Puck, as you mentioned, one of your favorite guys, I think the full year of him makes a big difference to how this entire bullpen performs.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at again the overall staff. They're not going to be, 26th in runs allowed this year. They're just not. I mean, you just know that Gallen and Kelly are going to be better. You got Burns. They're going to be much better. And offensively, they might not be as good. I mean, so they may not score as many runs, but they're not going to give up as many either. I think that this pitching staff is built for some really good success. D-backs fans haven't even really seen Erod pitch all that much. I mean, he didn't pitch a whole lot last year, injuries and all kinds of other stuff. And I've seen him a lot when he was with Boston. I mean, he reminds me of in a lot of ways like Nick Pivetta. I mean, that same way, like he can go out one night and he's a 7-inning stud. He looks unhittable, and then there's other nights where he's all over. And that's why those guys are slotted in those 4th and 5th positions. Erod was a high prospect coming out of the Orioles organization. The Red Sox got him. He never was that ace for the Red Sox, but he always slotted well as a 2-3, and now as a 4-5. He's perfect. I like starting rotation. D-backs A+.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too, when we talk about just the pitching staff as a whole, I think it's needs to be recognized and kind of remembered that, Merrill Kelly, I don't have the exact number of starts in front of me right now. I apologize for that, but I think it was only 13 or 14 starts last year. He missed a lot of time. Jordan Montgomery, thank you to the great advice from his former agent, Scott Boras. Hey, just hold out. He comes in late. They rush him through AAA Reno, the biggest little city in the world. And it was a disaster from step one for Montgomery. I think you see a more focused, better Jordan Montgomery, hopefully a healthy Merrill Kelly. But I like what Mike Hazen and the Diamondbacks organization did. Jeez, why can't I speak today? Organization. I like what they did, because now they're saying this year, hey, if Merrill Kelly goes on the shelf and only starts 13 games, we've got options. Whereas before, and I think it left a real sour taste in Diamondback fans' mouths when they went to the World Series against the Rangers and the opener, and all you heard out here, whether it be on TV, on local radio, you read in the paper, and it was all valid. I'm so tired of the opener. Guess what, Diamondback fans? No more need for an opener, because you have legitimately probably 7 starters on this team. So I think Mike Hazen said enough is enough. We're going to make sure we're stacked here. And who knows, maybe one of these guys gets dealt at the deadline for a piece, man. But when you slide over the offensive side of the Diamondbacks, not really seeing a ton of holes. We've got the same battle in the outfield. Who plays center field, Jake McCarthy or Alec Thomas? Outside of that, one of the most underrated players in all of baseball, show favorite, Ketel Marte, borderline MVP candidate. But here's the big thing, and I know a lot of Diamondback fans are still uncomfortable with this. Christian Walker's gone, and Jock Peterson's gone. That's like 50 home runs off the top of my head that they got to replace. So they might not hit the long ball, but you're not going to have to if this pitching staff stays healthy. And they're not scared of the Dodgers either. They haven't been. There you go. Offensively, first thing for the Diamondbacks, what do you see?
Well, I think Josh Naylor and Christian Walker are pretty much the same offensive player. I don't think there's a huge difference between the two of them. So I don't think you're losing a whole lot there. Obviously, defensively, that's a whole different story. You're going to take a hit there. But it seems like it's been 5 or 6 years now that the D-backs have been on this. Well, wait till Jordan Lawler comes up. Because
that goodie would have been here already.
Yep. Right. And so here's the thing. I think this is the year he either gets a chance, does this, or they need to move on from the Jordan Lawler experience because it's just not working. But this is from top to bottom. This is as good a lineup. What do you want in a lineup? You want speed? We got it. You want power? We got it. You want guys that hit the ball in the gap? We got it. You want guys that can go first to third? We got it. You want guys who hit right-handed? We need some left-handed hitting. We got it. This is a pretty solid lineup, top to bottom.
Yeah, and and that's just when you look at their general starters. Again, the whole, who's going to play center field, McCarthy or Thomas, depends on the day of the week thing. Ildemaro Vargas is killing it in the spring. There's another bat. They bring back Randall Grichuk. Gabby Moreno, very good hitting catcher if he can stay healthy. A little bit concerned because you see some of what every good catcher deals with. A couple of knocks in the dome, it's something to pay attention to. But Jose Herrera, good backup catcher. That deal, charge. Dalton Varsho, and then they end up getting Gabby Moreno. It's like that was such a killer move for the Diamondbacks. And Corbin Carroll had a really, really rough year last year. Corbin Carroll goes back to what he was the year before. I'm telling you, man, this team ain't scared of the Dodgers. They don't have the primo bright Hollywood light names, and that's exactly what Torey Lovullo wants. He doesn't give a damn. Right. Let's go. Let's play baseball. A connected team is a dangerous team, Vegas Mac.
There you go. I looked up just to see over the last couple of years, OPS plus for Christian Walker, 123. OPS for Naylor, 123.
Yeah. So I think you nailed it. I mean, he's not the defensive player that Walker was. I mean, Walker's a Gold Glover. But, you're still going to get the moonshots. How many times is that guy going to go into the pool? How many times is that guy going to go over the pool this year? I mean, they did what they had to do. And Diamondback fans don't want to hear it. Yeah, don't do that. Well, you're doing that because you're a Red Sox fan. I was going to say, don't do that in front of a Yankee fan. They'll lose their ever-loving shit. But in all seriousness, like this team is really, really built to handle the one thing that really floored them last year: injuries and slow starts. I mean, that I think is the most impressive thing about what they did. They've got pitching depth. They've got depth at all their position spots. I'm like, I know we're going to do our full season preview show the night before the real opening day, Rob Manfred, on the 26th. But I am really, really, really high on this team. And I think they're going to give the Dodgers every damn thing they got. And LA better be ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember that, the D-backs and Padres both made a run late into the season last year on the Dodgers. I mean, and then like you talked about, Marte got hurt and just things kind of fell apart a little bit for the D-backs. But if you're not excited about this D-backs team, I mean, this is a better team than a couple years ago when they went to the World Series, without a doubt. This is a better team, and so and we all know what they did to the Dodgers that year. So this might be, division wise, this might be the most fun division to watch, because I mean,
there's okay, hold on, no, you're not doing that. Don't blow smoke up my ass. We just talked about Colorado. They're trash. San Diego is cash strapped, and Buster Posey hasn't had enough time to be allowed to rebuild that shit show that was left for him. We're not doing that. Okay.
But listen.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish, but no, don't blow smoke up my ass.
No, listen, these teams really don't like each other. And I don't think that's the same in every. Yeah. I know, but I mean, like I was gonna say, besides you take the Red Sox and Yankees, we know that kind of thing. But these three teams really hate each other. You just go to the ballparks and watch the fans interact. I mean, it's something else. I mean, we've been there, we know that. I think this is going to be a fun division. These three teams, I think it's going to be really fun to see what happens.
Who's the third team?
The Padres.
Okay, good. I thought you were going somewhere else. I'm like, don't do it. No, we're not playing that game. Hey, and furthermore, since everybody wants to blame the Dodgers for ruining baseball because they're spending so much money, you really got to put this in perspective. The Dodgers didn't start blowing up Brinks trucks until the Diamondbacks knocked them out of the playoffs a couple years ago. That's what started this. So if you want to blame somebody, blame the Diamondbacks. And I'm sure Torey Lovullo's got no damn problem with that. He's the kind of manager you absolutely want to play for because he'll go, screw it, parking lot, stick, couple rocks, let's play ball. I mean, that's and this team very much mirrors exactly that. All right, this is going to be a tricky one for you. No, you don't get $200. $100 of my money in Vegas, Mac. Here's your choices. We're going to start with the Diamondbacks missing the playoffs, plus 105. Diamondbacks to make the playoffs, minus 125. Over-under on wins is 86.5. NOS champs is a plus 550. National League pennant is a plus 1,300. And to win the World Series, plus 2,500. While you think about that, I mean, I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. I'll give you a minute here. You're very familiar, as is TJ, as is our whole crew. Whether we're still in Arizona, some of us aren't, some of us still are, some of us have come back and gone, whatever the caught that one. Whatever the case may be. I'm really interested to see how the fans rally to this team. They proved it at the gates last year. They were pumping people in and out of Chase Field last year. High, some of their best attendance numbers ever. Here's the thing. The Suns have been a disastrous shit show all year. I'm really interested to see how the attendance looks this year with this team that they've put together on the field. I really, really am, because they've been dying for something out here because we know about the Suns best. All right, $100 of my money. You know what? Screw it. You can have the Rockies $100. I'll let you pick two of them. I'm in a giving mood today.
Oh.
And I'm writing these down. I will send you a bill for what needs to be collected if it doesn't break even. Go for it.
I was going to say I'm going to take the plus 550 to win the National League West.
I like it. It's a great bet because it's overinflated because of the Dodgers are supposed to be so good. And very likely I'm not saying they're not.
I will, but I think, I mean, the Dodgers are going to be good, but you know, they weren't that much better than the D-backs and the Padres last year. And listen, the D-backs they're going to be able to pitch. I mean, you're talking about maybe 4 or 5 games is all you're talking about. A difference of 4 or 5 games in here, you know, in the course of a season. You know, Corbin Burns is probably worth a couple of those games right off the bat. You know, and you know, if this Arizona offense continues to improve, like I think they can, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to say this, but I don't know that they're not as equal as the Dodgers.
You know, I don't think you saying that is that crazy. Outside of people that live in friggin' Los Angeles that are Dodger fans, most baseball people, when you break down the National League, I mean, you've got the powerhouses in the East. We know the Central is expected. You know, we just talked about the Cubs. Some people are bullish on the Cubs. I'm high on the Cubs. You're not so much. That division is not going to produce a team that's going to push 95 to 100 wins. The NL West could, and we've seen this. We've seen this the last time the Giants were actually friggin' relevant. The only time in the last 8 years that the Giants were any good, like the year they beat the Dodgers. This is a division that can produce 2 100-game winners, thanks to the team we talked about first tonight, the Rockies. Have no idea what the hell the Giants are and no idea what the hell the Padres are going to do. This division, this could be a 100-win race, assuming that everything works out health-wise perfect. But again, like I said, the thing that excites me the most about the Diamondbacks is Mike Hazen said, screw it. We have injuries. We have slow starts. Guess what? Next man up. And they literally have next man up everywhere. And we would assume that Corbin Carroll is not going to be as dreadful as at the plate and struggle as bad as he did last year. And again, the Naylor thing and just the depth. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would love to have Jake McCarthy or Alec Thomas, and the Diamondbacks have both of them. That's the thing. It's hard to not be overly excited. And I'm not even a Diamondbacks fan, and I'm excited. I wish, you know what? I can't wait to watch these games. Oh, no, I got to pay extra for that, even though I live in Arizona, because the commissioner of baseball is an idiot. Sorry. Yeah, I know.
Well, that's another show.
I'm going to go design some new era hats since that job should be available. See, nope, I'm going to go. Final thoughts on the Diamondbacks before we wrap up here. And I'll give you a second to kind of put that together. I know you know what you want to say. Again, follow us everywhere at Mike Arana Show. Tomorrow, the Boston Red Sox. On Monday, we're going to spend St. Patrick's Day with the aforementioned San Francisco Giants. And then we'll reset the rest of the schedule later. Don't forget, on Sunday, an hour after the brackets come out, our Moss Madness show. We'll give you our thoughts on how the madness will unfold itself over the next couple of weeks. But, man, dude, exciting freaking time. Final thoughts on the D-backs, man. Lay it on me.
I'll tell you what. I think most baseball fans would love to see the D-backs win the West. Let's be honest. Yep. You have to know, they have those maps where they show, the only teams rooting for the Dodgers or this bright. I mean, that part of, and the rest would be every other team. I mean, so if they keep it close throughout the most of the year, man, they're going to have Major League Baseball behind them, pushing them. That would be a lot of fun. People don't realize, the Bob Rocks. When the D-backs are playing well, the Bob is a great place to be.
There's some youngsters watching our show and they're going, why the hell did he just talk about Bob Ross? The Bob? What is the Bob?
It is the Bob.
Oh, absolutely, man. Anybody that's been here, and I love the aggressive approach. I love the depth that they have. I mean, legitimately, this is a 7-man starting rotation. And it's not that if you have 7, do you have any? No, legit, they have 7. They absolutely can go toe-to-toe. They are not scared with the Dodgers. I think D-backs Dodgers is going to be absolute must-see TV all friggin' year long. I can't wait, dude. I really can't. So, again, Boston Red Sox tomorrow. San Francisco Giants on Monday. Where's my trusty calendar? Man,
oh man.
There it is. I know. God forbid technology.
Are you going to be able to handle me tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to handle it? Because Lucas Giolito can't handle it, apparently.
I don't. I have a lot to say.
Again, Red Sox tomorrow, Giants on Monday. And then we're gonna start the interstate sibling rivalry again with the Cardinals and the Royals, Mets and Yankees next Wednesday, and then we'll get to the rest of it after that. Still plenty to come, plenty more to do. For Vegas Mac, for the people behind the scenes, for TJ, I'm Mike. We will talk to you tomorrow.